seems to be running for governor.
This is Morning Express, and today is the 14th day of March 2016, and it's time for us to look at the way it is. Just to let you know that you're welcome to participate in the debate that we're going to be having as we go along, and that is via Twitter. The Twitter handles are going to be displayed on your screen as we go along. And just to start with that are going through, I'd asked previously, based on a poll that was done by InfoTrack that suggests that we might be going in the wrong direction or the right direction. The question was, are we going in the wrong direction as a country? What your feeling is. And we already have Bayswater Queens who says that yes, we are going in the wrong direction. Jubilee has resulted to stealing in every project they undertake and tribal appointments all over town. We have Paul Otieno who says that Kenya is moving the wrong way. Reason being high cost of living, corruption, insecurity, and jobless youth. Feel free to weigh in and let us know what your take is. I'll first of all introduce our panel before we go to some of the subjects that we're going to be talking about. And I'll start with my extreme left, where we have Onyango Olo, who is the Secretary General for TNA. Good to have you and welcome.
Thank you so much.
Karibu sana. Next to him, we have Moses Kajwang, who's the Senator for Homa Bay. Karibu sana.
Asante, good morning.
Last but not least, we have Ambrose Weda, who is a lawyer.
Thank you.
Later on, we may be joined, and we're expecting Noah Kala, who is the Deputy Director for Elections, ODM. But starting off, first of all, with the by-elections that took place in Malindi and in Kericho. And of course, there has been a hue and cry on both ends. But let's start with Kericho, where KANU has come out to say that there has been malpractices. They've even come out to say that there's a formula that IEBC have used to ensure that Jubilee had an advantage. And just to get a glimpse of what they had to say, here's some of what they had to say from the KANU side of politics.
IEBC was totally complacent to save face for some senior politician in the region.
What transpired, unfortunately, was a total farce, mockery of the democratic process.
What has been going on, and let me start with you, Weda, on the fact that KANU has come out to say that Kericho was indeed won by Paul Sang and not Aaron Cheriot, as the results show. Your take on that?
I think Nick Salat must have a good story that they are taking to the older Moi, because they use so much money, and they must explain to him where the money went. Last time when we were here on Monday, and there was a hype that KANU is going to take it, you remember I told you it was as the same case as Homa Bay, when my friend was running and others were running, and it was like, oh, Raila is losing Homa Bay, oh this, oh that. Eventually, that time I said, he will take the day. That is what happened in Kericho. Oh, Deputy President is losing, oh this. Eventually, he took it. But because they spent so much money, they have to go and tell Baba now, the older Mzee Moi, this is what happened, we won, but they stole money. Otherwise, votes are counted at the polling station level.
So you have confidence in IEBC having run a free and fair election in Kericho?
This one was obvious. It was free, it was fair. It's only that the outcome for KANU did not come as expected. But the rest of us expected Jubilee to win in Kericho, and I said we will lose in
Malindi.
In Malindi, I said it here. It was obvious. You didn't have to go to a diviner. So what KANU is saying is what all of us sometimes in politics we say. When you lose, you don't just say I've lost. You say there has been rigging. That is a phrase, and it should not surprise anybody.
Okay. Senator Moses Kajwang, is it just a common phrase by KANU to not be a good sport and say, look, we just lost and concede?
Mike, for me, the important takeaway out of Kericho is the fact that KANU, which is part of the Jubilee coalition, is now saying that IEBC is not a fair arbiter to elections. The issue of negative perception of IEBC is now shifting. It's no longer CORD talking about it. Even members of the ruling Jubilee coalition are now complaining that IEBC is being used to rig elections, and that does a very bad disservice to the issue of reputation of the IEBC. Secondly, Mike, in my view, KANU could have lost the battle in Kericho, but there's a bigger war ahead, and you cannot write off KANU. If you look at the numbers that the KANU candidate got, 50-something thousand against 100 for the JAP candidate, it tells you that KANU was able to tell a story, whether it was propaganda, whether it was riding on issues of discontent. It means that KANU has told a story that resonates with the people. This by-election, in the first place, was completely unnecessary. Sometimes I wonder, my colleagues who are here, who have the privilege of advising the president, why they would advise the president to pick a senator who has been elected, or a member of National Assembly, to elevate them to the cabinet. I mean, Onyangolo or Weda are people who are qualified and fit enough to run the Ministry of Energy or mining. Why should we cost the nation so much money? We've spent hundreds of millions of shillings in by-elections in Kericho and Malindi, when the IBC is struggling to raise money to conduct voter registration. So the Kericho situation was a by-election occasioned by a poor decision by the executive to elevate a senator to become a cabinet secretary. And yet, even with that apparent bribery to the people of Kericho, KANU was still able to tell a story and get away with 50,000 or something votes. Well, I've seen in the headlines, and I've listened to Nick Salat saying that there was a formula that was used to rig the elections, which is quite interesting, and especially coming from KANU, which is part of Jubilee. And I want to assume that being part of Jubilee, KANU knows all the tricks that these guys have been using to steal elections in this country. I'm glad that now the truth is coming out, and I want to encourage KANU to proceed to the court so that this matter can be dealt with properly in the courts of law.
All right, and well, let me now introduce Noah Kala, who has just come in, and he's the Deputy Director for Elections, ODM. Welcome, good to have you. I'll come to you in just a short while, but coming to you, Secretary General Onyango Olo, it looks like now that KANU are also saying that IEBC may be foul playing, is it finally time for Jubilee as well to say that IEBC possibly is not prepared for 2017?
Mike, let me first start by congratulating IBC for a job well done in Kericho in particular. Losers in Kenya seem not just to accept to lose. And we have professional losers who have built over the years the narrative of how you pick yourself down from the ashes. The only way that you maintain your relevance after a devastating loss is the way that has been perfected by COD. That is to say, the elections were stolen. Otherwise, you lack a story that gives you relevance again. In Kericho, KANU of all the parties, the longest serving party in this country, could not have claimed to have lost, to have had the elections rigged. When in the first, you remember what Mr. Weda said, elections are counted at the polling center. Your agent signs or refuses to sign. There were not just two parties here. There was other smaller parties. The Vision Party was contesting. Did the agent sign or not sign? At the tallying center, what simply comes is the votes that had been counted, signed by your agent at the polling center. That was done for good reason, to limit chances where debates used to be staffed to midway, where votes used to be manipulated a long way. KANU is talking of a formula that was probably used by JAP, but they are not telling us this formula. If this formula was brought for us here to interrogate, we would probably apply it to the figures that they are saying were the correct figures. But they can't avail it for a few reasons. The formula is non-existent. Two, they lost squarely. KANU is a member of the coalition, but they decided to run against Jubilee Party, despite having agreed that they send one candidate. And so we had to meet them on the ground, and the people made a decision that they still had confidence in JAP. And let me correct my colleague here. It was 153 against 50,000. How much do you want to be defeated to accept that the people have expressed their will? It was a resounding victory for us.
All right, Noah, I know you're very involved when it comes to elections, and you've been one who has been very vocal in terms of IEBC being ill-prepared. And your take on Kericho, given that now KANU has come out to say there's even a formula. However, it's also important to note that they have made no official complaint, legally speaking. It's all to newsrooms, and one would wonder why not then take that and take it to the so that if there's any issues, it can be tackled.
First, I must express my surprise at my senior colleague here, the SG of TNA, congratulating the IEBC for a job well done in Kericho, yet we were together when we were giving him a drubbing in Malindi. How could he know what was happening in Kericho when he was in Malindi?
Does one have to be there to know if a job has been well done?
You need to be on the ground to
but
know
we know what is happening in the US now.
Tackled. You need to be on the ground to know the realities of the issues. And I feel as though the result coming out of Kericho and the manner in which certain issues are being brought forward are a serious condemnation of the manner in which IEBC has been conducting electoral affairs in this country. These are issues that we've raised in the past about the integrity of the ICT system that is used by the IEBC. Indeed, results declared at the polling station are meant to be final with agents signing. However, there have been issues with tallying and of results in the past. You remember in the 2013 presidential election, this was one of the contents of the presidential petition at the Supreme Court, that results being tallied at Bomas of Kenya were different from those results being announced on the ground. And from what I picked up from the Secretary General of KANU's statement yesterday, is that they're alluding to this same pattern being repeated here. And this brings issues of grave concern. All parties concerned, all political parties, all stakeholders in this country, wananchi, should be concerning themselves with why these issues are being raised, not chest thumping and claiming that they are professional losers, they are people who drub others. We should be interrogating the integrity of this institution called IEBC that has in recent weeks had to yet again come and deal with issues of integrity over the Chicken Gate scandal. This is a commission that is mired in controversy and corruption and has no place in Kenya's democracy.
Okay, but now using the same argument that you have used on Onyango Olo, that he was in Malindi and he claims that there was no malpractice, then would use the same argument and say, why would you say there's malpractice yet you are in Malindi as well?
I'm not saying that there's malpractice. I'm saying that there's a pattern emerging. Issues to do with the ICT of the IEBC and issues to do with transmission that need to be interrogated. Otherwise, we'll be walking into a quagmire in 2017 if Kenyans don't begin to ask themselves questions as to why this pattern is repeating over and over and over. Then we'll be walking into a problem in 2017.
Okay. Ambrose Weda, as a lawyer, there is a legal system and a way of seeking redress when you think there's been malpractice. What is that legal system and why can't KANU, use that?
The legal system is simple. You file a petition. The Chief Justice to petition court. You look at your complaint, and then if you win, you go back for elections. But KANU is not that stupid. They have been in power long enough. They know that they have no justiciable grounds. But the Kericho by-election gave them a lifeline, brought them back into the mainstream, how they can be on media, how they can attract attention. So they use it to drum up the question of we were rigged, we got 130-something, we are the one who won. I've told you the key thing is they used a lot of money. A lot of money coming from the second president, because the others have not done much to earn so much money. So they have to go and tell him, Your Excellency, retired president, we gobbled up this money and we won, but these people have stolen. That is the game they are doing. It's not that they are complaining genuinely that they would go to court. If they were serious, you would have seen them in court. Now, those who attack IEBC, especially beneficiaries, my brother, when it comes to your victory, IEBC is very good. Engineer Kundi, on the other hand, is saying there was rigging, and you say they did a good job. When it comes to Malindi, the IEBC did a very good job, we won. When it comes to Kericho, IEBC should go. Let us not double talk, not forgetting that these BVR kids you are talking about, Isaac Hassan, my classmate, when they were being bought, he said, it is late we cannot use these things. Let us leave them. Let us use the system we have used over the years for this crucial election. The then Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga ordered, and using his powers of the minister, noise over President Kibaki, ordered that it is government to government, this should be brought. Again, Isaac Hassan said, we do not have the know-how, the technical